Hey y'all, welcome to the next mental health vlog. I really needed time to process the loss of my friend from the last vlog that I did. And while that one was more of a combined bonnet chronicle mental, one moment. Baby, I'm taping. Calm down. Matter of fact, come close my door, please. Come close my door. I'm not trying to stop you from watching your videos, but I want to tape this, so close my door.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Uh-huh. Real life. Then this is unfiltered, unedited 10 because honestly speaking, I'm not really a YouTuber. I know I say that as I put stuff on YouTube. I don't really think I'm gonna ever make any kind of living or money off of this. And these vlogs are honestly a way to help myself and help others who struggle through the realities of having mental health issues, to let you know you're not alone. I know that the content that I talk about isn't monetizable either, and I have no intention on setting up like accounts for Patreon and stuff. When I do need help, I reach out. I have my own personal way of asking for help if it gets to that point. I'm also a writer now, so hopefully speaking, I can do these and make my living separate. I don't ever want you to feel like tuning into these means you're going to get hit by sponsors or worrying about funding me, because I don't do it for those reasons. That being said, the topic that I want to talk about today is a heavy one, and it does come after mourning the loss of my friend who died at 44 years old. And I'm still trying to process, just struggling through feeling mortality so visceral and in your face. And honestly speaking, I think a lot of people can't openly talk about that struggle that you have with, why am I here? Why am I doing this? What is the point of all of this? Especially when you grow up with things that traumatize you, give you this either heavy leans in the independence or heavy leans into nobody gives a fuck about you anyway. It can be hard navigating life when you try to find the point and purpose of it all. And I think a lot of people downplay it off and talk about, oh, life is what you make it. It's living for other people, and what if other people are garbage? I was taught, and I don't say this lightly, that people had uses. They were tools. From almost the beginning, I was given life lessons about how to navigate, how to use people, how to make sure that you were all right. And I had to undo a lot of that toxicity. And when I did it, I still ended up being in survival mode, still putting myself in situations that were completely unnecessary, but I thought they were necessary to survive because that was all I seemed to be able to be capable of doing. Well, yes, I felt I had the capabilities of being smarter. I also wrestled with the whole notion that if you're too smart, nobody's going to want you. If you're too this, nobody's going to want you. If you're too that, it was a fucking mess. And I got to a very low point in 2005. I was in a bad relationship, very uncomfortable time for me. And I put on such a brave front, everybody's best friend, the person you could turn to and rely on, the problem solver, business owner. I put on that mask of happiness, defending my friends versus shit when I was going through shit myself because I could hide when I was hurting. Well, and honestly speaking, most people didn't care. As long as I could give them what they wanted, they didn't peer too deeply. And the few that did, the few that finally started to realize that she was in a messed up situation, they felt helpless. They didn't know how to get me out of it. It was a bad time, but it was solely self inflicted. I didn't have to stay. I felt like I had to stay, but I didn't. I just didn't realize it at the time. Life is a series of choices, though. And I know it feels hard to navigate when you really have those voices in your head telling you, why are you doing this? Coupled with the non-lucid moments that really feel real. And I can't explain it any deeper than that. When you go through non-lucidity, it is like your world and brain connects to another plane. You feel things, see things, hear things, you can taste things. And it might be something completely different, but your mind can't tell you that. And I've realized that even writing out my last story with trauma, your brain finds ways to either build up a defense or tries to protect itself from the world around it. We might have a skull protecting our brains, but it doesn't stop from emotional trauma doing damage to you. And I think my mental health traumas, my distancing from people, my complete embrace of this whole existence is just an experiment, is the fact that, honestly speaking, every time I've tried to fit in, live that normal life, be a part of things, I end up attracting either toxic people or I end up becoming toxic myself. I don't want to just put all the blame on the people around me. You do exude some of the things that you attract. I'm not going to act like I'm the kindest person or the nicest person. I don't lie to people about that. I can be wrathful, I can be petty, but I've learned to rein it in because I realized it was just pointless. And it got to a head when I didn't have the outlet to fight, when I was taking more blows than I deserved to take, when I was with somebody who didn't appreciate me, and my only outlets were a game and depression chat. And for those of you who remember Yahoo Depression Chat, sent you a vision here. That was me. Some of you talked. A lot of us dialogue, trying to keep our mind straight while we wrestle with why are we doing this? When we wrestle with even darker thoughts. And it was a friend from that chat and my best friend, now boyfriend, that really saved me the night that I got to the point where I couldn't wear the mask anymore. I just didn't care. I no longer wanted to be here. And yesterday, when I was on Twitter, I wrote out a little thread about creating a character in my story that had that front, that wanted to be happy, that put herself in a relationship, propped up her best friend, wanted her best friend to see life as a happy thing, wanted people around her to be happy, even though she herself really wasn't feeling it. She could convince everybody around her that she was okay when she really wasn't. She handled things on her own so long that she didn't know how to ask for help, that she didn't think she could ask for help. And she made a very irreversible decision. And I remember that night because I have to. The night that I wrote out that note, had all my medications lined up, had some alcohol lined up as well. And I was going to do something that I knew would hopefully stop the pain of my mind and body saying, why are you doing this? The pain that I didn't know at the time was the life inside of me trying to prevent me from doing something stupid as well. And I was fortunate, and that's why I believe everything has a reason and a purpose. That was why my friend from the depression chat, Rowan, tried to keep me up talking that night. I don't know if she just felt the empathetic need to just keep me talking, keep me going, keep me dialoguing with her. And then Greg, who I was playing online mud with, was in the same boat. He just wanted to talk, and both of them were exhausting that night, but they did not, for some crazy reason, want to let me go that night from talking. And finally, about 4 a.m., I broke down to Greg and I was like, look, I am tired. I am hurting. Kevin will be home soon. I don't want to deal with him. My body has been really hurting a lot lately and I don't understand it. My brain was thinking I had a tumor or something. I was not on the level of thinking anything else but that. And Greg was never really a forceful guy. He was never one of those guys that tried to push too heavily into my business, but something in him that night got to the point where listening to me and hearing how sad I sounded made him go, just go to the ER. Do that. Promise me. He made me promise him that I would go. And I don't know why. I could have just said, yeah, I'll do it, and still did what I had planned to do. But instead, I listened to him. And I sat in my bed waiting for my ex to come. Honestly, the original plan was for him to come home and find me either unresponsive or worse. But instead, I sat waiting and begged him to take me to the ER, which was a whole fight in itself because, oh, I'm tired. I worked, you sure you even need this? And I was in tears. It was like, yes, I really need to go. This is the last ditch effort for me to make an effort to be here. And I needed to go so that I could confirm for myself and to Greg selfishly that this was a waste of my time. That was how I went to the ER that day. Just determined to find out that it was something irreversible, like a tumor or something. All of the pain that I was feeling was not worth fighting for. I wanted that justification that that note that I had written out was worth it. And instead, after a few hours and then poking, prodding, checking me, doing an ultrasound of all things, which I was still convinced they were going to tell me, ma'am, you have stage whatever. No. Doctor looked me in the eye and said, well, you're 38 weeks pregnant. Congratulations. And it was like I was slapped into reality. I was slapped into what? Yeah, 38 weeks, about to literally have a baby between the schizoid, bipolar depression, being on several different medications, the move, losing the business, everything we went through. I did not think about even remotely becoming a mom. And I know somehow between the non lucid days and everything else, my ex took advantage of the situation. I can't prove it. I don't know. I wasn't in my right mind, so I don't know. It's not like I said no a lot to him, but I know that towards the end of our relationship, consent was a tricky thing because I didn't want him touching me. I didn't want him potentially giving me anything because for him, our so-called vows, which weren't really legal anyway, were never sacred in the first place. So it was touch and go. And to find out that not only was I about to do something that could have ended my life, but also the life that was in me was that was a wake up call I needed to try to get out of this mindset. But I'm going to be 100% honest because I want this mental health vlog to be that. No matter how hard you fight, the thoughts are always going to be there. No matter how hard you try, it is on you, and getting help is so important. There are going to be times where you feel empty. There are going to be times where the traumatic memories of things that you don't want to remember, or things you're not even sure if you're remembering, right? Because your mind is a fractured mess. And I know that healthcare professionals work to help us by observing and empathizing, but unless you go through this, it is hard for people to understand what this is like. People tell you, "Oh, if you do this or do that, it'll go away. You'll find reason, you'll find purpose." No, you find ways to cope. And that's why I wanted to be honest with people in these vlogs because so many people try to give you like only encouragement and they don't explain that sometimes it just doesn't resonate, doesn't penetrate that layer, that abyss of darkness that surrounds you, or your mind questioning the fucking whys of it all. Why, when you're non-lucid, does it feel so fucking real? Why do you hear such clear things in your head? Why is it easier to have conversations with those things in your head than it is with regular people? Why do people feel regular to you? So many things that people who study us try to help us by letting us talk to them can't understand because they don't go through this. And it's not easy. Putting this out there now that my son's older has been a lot easier for me. I couldn't have done this years ago. This shit comes with the risk of, oh, this person has mental health issues. We should see if they're a good parent. They don't care about us in general. They use our health issues as a way to destroy everything. So it's a fine line in what you reveal about yourself and what you go through and trying to do things to have that life worth living. My son became my life. Being a mom became the function that I needed to go, what's my purpose? My purpose to make life better for him. Is it selfish and self driven? Probably. And I have to say this, there is always that cowardly side too. Yeah, you feel in the moment that you can do something. But that's why we always cry out to somebody or something to save us. Because I think deep down, no matter how much we think we don't want to be here or think the world's better off without us, we just want somebody to tell us, yes, we want you here. We want to see you. We love you. We care about you, even if you don't really understand what all of that means. It's a fucked up thing about sociopathy that nobody tells you. That you think you understand love and it ends up being obsession. You think you understand relationships and you wonder how many times you've utilized them just as a coping tool. You find out things about yourself that you both hate and dislike, but you realize that you've done it to survive. And I put these out there not for the people who think they know, but for the people who actually know this life, that are still here, that are still surviving because it is all you know. It is okay. The dark thoughts are a part of you, but they don't have to win if you don't want them to. And I know that some of us aren't lucky to have those pushy friends. Some of us aren't lucky to have those useful tools either that are around you, keeping you going. And it's hard because it's always the people that don't want to understand what you're going through, what your mind is doing, all the processes that you're going through, that want to be the first to go, I don't understand why they had to do this. That's the problem. You don't understand what this is like. It is really a hell. And I tell everybody who goes through this that you aren't alone. I seen a friend on Twitter the other day that realized that she was feeling numb and worse and that that wasn't her. But I wanted to tell her that technically it really is. We are beings of balance. And just like some gravitate towards the light, or at least try to exude that they gravitate towards being light, being positive, everybody has that darkness within it. Some of us just feel more enveloped by it than others. Some of us have a harder time separating ourselves from it, but it's there. And outside traumas, loss of people around us, death and grief tend to reinforce that pull into the abyss of darkness for some of us. Next month is so many things. The anniversary of Greg and I deciding to become a couple. My grandmother, what it would have been her 90th birthday if she was still here. But it's also the anniversary of one of the most traumatic times of my life. And I struggle every year around that time. Every year I retreat away from people and things and I try to find healthy coping mechanisms. It wasn't always that way, and I'm glad that I'm no longer doing things that are bad for me to try to escape, because there really is no escape. It's just my brain altering memories so I don't think about the actions of that event, but it's always going to be with me. It really is a life sentence for those of us who have survived sexual trauma and assault. And what I've realized about my current level of survival, my current level of just letting go and being and reaching out and doing these vlogs is that My survival's not promised. So-called success might not be enough, and it might actually put more pressure on my already tired system. So I'm trying to find a way to navigate this healthy. I don't care if I become a success. That was never the goal. The goal was to figure out, why the heck are we doing this? Find out as much knowledge as I'm allowed to and just exist and try to not do any harm to others. It's not an easy existence. People don't make it easy, but I figure, especially getting past 45 now, it's got to be why. And it wasn't an easy road, and I wasn't always a good person. And that's what I want others to realize too. So many people try to push that. Oh, you're such a good person. Oh, I'm such a good person. Oh, I'm an empath. I'd rather just be honest. I might find somebody or something interesting at first, get all the information I can, and then not want to be bothered. That has just always been my personality. I'm older now, and I just don't see that aspect of myself changing. I think it's hard for some people to deal with, but I think there are a lot more of us out there than people understand. It's not that I just want to observe people. It's that people gravitate and they automatically tell me things about themselves. They automatically unpack their bags. They automatically spill things at me. I don't know whether it's just they think they can trust, they feel safe. I don't know what it is. And there are a lot of times where people build a bond with me that I have no intention on reciprocating. And it's very off putting and frustrating, and it makes me retreat more. And online has been even worse for that. And there are people that just don't understand sociopathy. They still use it as a blanket mental illness insult. So I just want to put it out there that the insult you're using, you're really talking about my life. You're really talking about people like me who are surviving. We're super antisocial. We're constantly in our heads. We don't have decent interpersonal relationships because for us, the whole idea of relationships in itself is an exhausting process that we tend to wonder if it's worth. If it gives us worth, if it's interesting enough, we will put the effort in. But most of the time, it really isn't. And I can't explain it any better than that. And I know they want to give it fancy terms and classify and quantify it. I just say it's how I live. And I just want to do these vlogs for others like me that are living this life, that are trying to figure out why you're still here. It is because we can see the system for what it is. It is because we can navigate, not be pulled into the stupid shit. Look past the stupid, superficial, build actual workable relationships with people who see us for what we are and don't try to change who we are, but help us see that our worth is in being here. It takes time, and you'll probably get hurt more than what you know because most won't try to understand you, but they're out there. That is why I do these, because I know I did not get to this age on my own. I made way too many dumb choices. I put myself in way too many stupid ass dangerous situations to not appreciate those around me who kept me going. So I say this to you: if you feel alone right now, please reach out for help. Sometimes it really does take that step, because you're not just going to find empathetic beings, because there's not that many out there. And the ones that try to loudly tell often are the ones who aren't truly. And I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. I will be back hopefully next week with another mental health vlog. I hope that these talks help people. That's all I want to do, is to show a real face of somebody who don't just struggle but survives this. We're out there. There are millions of us just trying to navigate this fucked up society and trying to do our best to figure out why. I'll see you all soon.